my hand. I don't have a hand. Hold my jacket.
Why do you have to feed all the judges? Don't they have kitchens?
The judges' breakfast is a kind of a party. It's a get-together. We do it once a month, and today I'm the hostess. Is that cool?
Yeah. How come it's okay to have a muffin for breakfast but not a cookie?
Because muffins are breakfast food and cookies aren't.
Says who?
The American Muffin Association. Come on, let's go.
Do you believe in God?
Where did that come from?
I just wondered.
Yes, I do.
Me too.
Good. Let's go.
Do you pray?
Sometimes.
When?
I don't know. When I'm on an airplane. Can we wait until we get into the car to talk about this?
Okay. Do you believe in heaven?
Sweetie, here's the thing. God and heaven and prayer are all very complicated ideas that I'm happy to talk about when I'm not standing in the middle of the street holding a box of muffins. Tonight, when I get home, we'll have a long talk about it. Okay?
Okay.
Now let's go.
Where did babies come from?
Move!
Judge Gray, this should start winding down in 10 minutes or so. I'm not refilling the coffee.
It's a good call, Bruce.
First up is a heroin mother.
Brief me.
Kid was born addicted to heroin. She's arguing the prenatal benefits of opiates.
How fun.
Excuse me.
Best time you've had since your last blind date? Oh, God. My kingdom for a blind date right now. No, these things are generally much worse. You got a really big turnout. Everybody wanted to get a look at you.
Sorry, Judge Gray.
I know. We have to wrap this up.
Your docket has changed.
No heroin, Mother?
Everything's postponed. You just got a special assignment.
From who?
Edwin Brooks, presiding judge.
Well, he just hands it down with no warning? What does that mean?
Means it's a case nobody wants.
Susie Nixon? Ms. Nixon? Oh, Miss Gray. Good. You're not late. I'm never late. It's a character flaw. Call me Maxine. Have a seat. I'm just finishing up with these files. I usually see all my cases through, but I've just been swamped. I understand that you've been called out of retirement. I've been consulting the whole time. Well, that shows incredible dedication. Or temporary insanity. Who was your last supervisor? That would be me. Oh. I didn't know that you were head of the department. They didn't tell me. Well, I really am honored. So what's the assignment? Blatant abuse. Kid needs to be snatched as soon as possible. I've already submitted one report, and the judge is waiting for a follow-up. Oh, it's Judge Fowler who usually sees things our way. Our way? I'm not a big fan of letting children suffer, and I hope you agree. Actually, I think it should be a spectator sport. Part of the Summer Olympics, maybe. Ms. Nixon, I've been a social worker for 28 years. I think it's safe to say I've devoted my life to the welfare of children. Oh, I didn't mean to offend you. It's just that our generation feels that we have to make up for decades of letting children down. And since the child abuse laws only came into being sometime in the 60s, we really... I was around then, when the states enacted mandatory reporting. I testified before Congress. Oh, I had no idea. Well, I'm certainly not in a position to give you guidance.
We got cedar wood. We got 9-inch nails. We need screws.
Why are we here? This place is boring.
I told Grandma I'd build her some cedar closets.
Is she paying you?
Family doesn't pay. They make you pay if you say no. Screws. Where are the screws?
Mommy doesn't let me say that word.
It's okay in this context.
What's a context?
When you're talking about hardware, you can say screws.
When can't you say it?
You see that guy down there in the red apron? His name is Dwayne. Go ask him where the screws are.
Fathers are getting younger all the time.
I know, that's my niece. I just picked her up from school.
Are you good at this stuff?
Kid stuff?
No. This.
Oh, well, yeah, I can pick an electric drill out of a lineup.
What about a glue gun?
Here you go.
Okay, I'm an idiot.
People tend to dissociate in these places. It's normal.
Thank you.
What are you gluing?
Boxes, I sell them.
There's a market for boxes.
Well, I make them. Hand-carved, painted, decoupaged. People want them for some reason.
You're an artist.
So they tell me. I'm Chris Osborne.
Vincent Gray.
And what do you do, Vincent Gray, when you aren't in hardware stores?
I'm a writer.
What do you write?
Fiction, mostly.
Anything I might have read?
I doubt that.
No, I don't read much these days. You're probably ridiculously famous, and I should be embarrassed.
Hey, good job. Lauren, this is Chris.
Hi.
Hi, Lauren. You have a nice uncle.
I know, but he ought to be married by now.
It's Grandma.
I might give you a call. I got a job for you. Are you in the book?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the deal. They call him the Saint Boy. Real name is Thomas Bell, 10 years old. Mother was 9 months pregnant when she was killed in a car accident. Baby was delivered on site, technically dead. He was revived, but has been in a vegetative state ever since. He has never spoken or moved or responded to outside stimuli. His maternal grandmother has raised him since birth.
They can't do this to me, can they?
The boy is supposed to perform miracles. People come from everywhere to touch him, be healed by him. It's creating a circus atmosphere in the neighborhood, not to mention questionable press.
Yeah, but where's the evidence of abuse?
His doctor, with whom he has several monthly visits, has expressed concerns. Constant exposure to the public is undermining his health. Also, evidence of stigmata, bleeding from the hands and feet, exhibiting wounds of Christ.
Oh, my God. This doesn't happen in Hartford. It happens in other places.
They're filing the petition even as we speak. You're presiding.
Well, can't somebody stop this? The Attorney General can't want this case.
Wrong. Charges are coming directly from Victor Pascal's office.
They are. Well, this stinks. They're giving it to me because I'm the only judge who can't throw it back in their faces. Taking on the Catholic Church and the Constitution. Do they have anything bigger in their bag of tricks? You got any thoughts on this, Bruce?
Just one. I'm glad I'm not you.
Is it true that he's been known to cure people?
Is there evidence of a stigmata?
Is it true that you've only been a judge for a month?
It's you. The boy's been calling all morning. No, we can't comment.
Let the press find out on the presiding judge.
Beats me.
Really?
What's that supposed to mean?
The AG's office can't talk to the press. I'm hermetically sealed, and you're the only other person who
Are you
knows.
trying to accuse me of something?
I'm just wondering how it got leaked.
I hope you would trust me a little more than that.
Trust you. See, the tricky thing about trust is it requires actually knowing a person. You have insisted on this professional distance. The rumors of judges were actually close to their CSOs.
What do you want to know?
Anything? Your middle name, your marital status, your birthday, your favorite ice cream. Whether you're for me or against me.
I worked for no less than 5 judges for the last 2 years. Did you call them and ask about me? Did you do your homework?
Yeah. They were all men.
My opinion of you has very little bearing on my job. I take my work seriously, and I play by the rules.
Well, thanks for telling me.
Calvin, September 1st, single, lactose intolerant. And I didn't talk to anyone.
Hi, Mrs. Oakes. I'm Maxine Gray from DCF. What happened to Susie? Susie got tied up in court, so I'm following up for her.
I was hoping we were finished with all this.
Hi, Ashley.
Why don't you go watch TV? This is all a big mistake.
Ashley's teacher, Mrs. Swanson, is concerned about her weight and her eating habits.
Mrs. Swanson is at least 20 pounds overweight herself. She can stand to watch her own eating habits. As you can see, I'm a slender person. Ashley, obviously, got my genes.
Mrs. Swanson says that Ashley refuses to eat her lunch and criticizes her classmates about their fat intake.
Let's be honest. We live in a country where self-control is considered extinct. Those kids bring nothing but processed foods to school. Saturated fats, empty carbs.
Mrs. Swanson says because of her eating disorder, Ashley has trouble concentrating.
She does not have an eating disorder.
If you could let me spend a few minutes with Ashley, maybe we can clear this whole thing up.
Honey, this is... What's your name again?
Maxine Gray.
Maxine. She wants to talk to you for a little bit. Is that okay? I'll leave you two alone.
Hi. I have a granddaughter about your age.
Does she like Barbies?
Yes, as a matter of fact, she does. Do you?
I'm not allowed to play with them. Mommy says they have an unrealistic body type.
I see. You know, I'd like to talk about something else. I'd like to talk about what you had for lunch today.
A salad. It was good.
Lettuce, cucumbers, carrots?
Dressing on the side. Dressing has a lot of calories.
I see.
Because of the oil. But we did some sit-ups, so we burned it off.
All rise. Oyez, 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 the Honorable Superior Court.
Let's do the short version.
Be seated.
Before the case was assigned to you, the presiding judge heard a motion and made the ruling that the case was open to the public.
Oh, really? Guys, we're revisiting that motion. Take your complaints to the Supreme Court. So DCF has filed a petition stating that several mandatory reporters have alleged abuse in the Thomas Bell case, and the department is seeking custody for the child.
Your Honor, my name is David Trask. I'm attorney for the grandmother, Mrs. Mila Bell.
Yes, I know who you are. But DCF is the moving party, so we'll start with A.H.E. Cutler.
Thank you, Your Honor. While we respectfully acknowledge the extraordinary circumstances of this case, we at this time would like to submit that the child is comatose. He is incapacitated and therefore cannot have consented to his current treatment.
Objection. Your Honor, the case against Thomas Bell goes into the area of freedom of religion.
I assure you we will get there.
Furthermore, we vigorously deny that any abuse has occurred. This petition should never have been issued. The matter should be dismissed.
You will have every opportunity to make that argument. Go ahead, Mr. Cutler.
The people contend that the child is in a vulnerable state, and his grandmother's enthusiasm in presenting him as a child saint only exacerbates his condition. Your Honor, all else aside, the child is sick. He's in a coma, and the constant exposure to outside individuals only serves to make the situation worse.
Yeah, I've read the petition. Tell me something new.
At this time, we request that Your Honor make a visit to the child.
I strongly object.
No, I don't think that's a good idea. Since the argument is that Thomas has had too much exposure.
I don't see how this case can be tried fairly if you don't have the opportunity to view the child in his current circumstances. He cannot be moved, so it stands to reason that the court should go to him.
Your Honor, this is an unnecessary violation of the boy's privacy. He's a 10-year-old boy, and he's not well.
And yet you have no problem with the grandmother putting him on display for strangers.
Those are religious people. They are respectful.
What am I, a Visigoth?
Then Your Honor agrees that the visit is unavoidable.
No, I don't agree with that. I have already appointed a medical investigator, and that should be sufficient.
Your Honor, squeamishness aside...
Excuse me?
It's not easy to face this head-on.
Mr. Cutler, you are so out of line.
I apologize.
I'm not sure that's enough.
Then let me just humbly say, I think this is very important.
Mr. Cutler, my hesitation has to do with the fact that once we leave this courtroom, we are exposing ourselves to the public. And it is vital that Thomas be protected from any further exploitation.
Measures can be taken. It can be managed.
All right. We'll schedule a court-appointed visit to the child. All interested parties should attend. However, the press is absolutely excluded from this excursion.
The court will note my strenuous objection.
I'll even underline strenuous.
Vincent, you're on time.
Should I have been late?
No, I was just painting and I forgot to look at the clock. So come on up.
Thanks. Oh, wow. These must be some boxes you make.
This is the house my first profession paid for.
Which was?
I was a fabric designer. A couple of my patterns caught on.
Any fabrics I might have seen?
You heard of paisley? No, it's just a trendy look a couple of designers picked up. But I stopped doing it because I got bored. It's my disease. Coffee?
Sure. Did you do that?
Yeah, a long time ago.
During your Mark Rothko phase?
You actually know about art?
I minored in art history.
Really?
Yeah. My mom thinks it's because she wore elastic pants when she was pregnant with me. Cut off the blood supply.
Okay, so here's the deal. I'm starting a catalog to sell my boxes and other stuff, and I need someone to write witty, descriptive blurbs.
I majored in blurbs.
I've checked around, and $1 a word seems fair.
Great. I'll be verbose.
So you'll do it?
Sure.
Or, I have another idea. We could just date. Okay. I'll go get dressed. We can start writing.
Please don't take him.
Let's keep moving. Mrs. Bell, I'm Bruce Van Exel. We spoke on the phone yesterday.
I've been praying for you.
This is Judge Amy Gray. We have a court order.
Yes, I know. Come in. Dr. Myers already here. I would like to have a blessing before we begin.
No, that won't be necessary.
I'm afraid I require it. Mrs. Bell, I understand this is a difficult situation for you, but we're here on court business. I'd just like to see your grandson. No one sees Thomas without the blessing of the church.
We have the blessing of the court.
Well, I'll take you in, but just you. All interested parties have to be present. Only the doctor will examine him. But Thomas doesn't know you. You're strangers. This won't take long. I promise.
Child is a 10-year-old male, has been in a persistent vegetative state since birth. The child appears to be clean, well-nourished.
Could you refer to him by name?
Thomas's pulse and respiration are within normal limits. Slight rashes on both arms and facial area, consistent with prolonged confinement to bed. His hair has been pulled out in places.
Caused by?
I guess. People wanting to take home a souvenir. There are abrasions on both palms. The dermis is somewhat macerated.
What does that mean?
Some kind of wound. It's moist, which means it's been recently bandaged.
How recently?
Don't know, but there's also old scar tissue. These marks are being inflicted, and not by God.
Poor little boy. You cannot touch him. You have not been blessed.
So tell me what you got.
I visited Mrs. Oakes and her daughter. Things are plenty strange in that household. Have you inquired about the father's interest in obtaining custody?
He's a salesman, he travels a lot, plus he's a teensy little problem with cocaine.
Well, there goes that.
If we hop to, we can get the petition on Judge Fowler's desk tomorrow, and we can have the kid in foster care by this weekend.
I can see that her mother has some strange issues with food, and she's inflicting them on the daughter. Personally, I'd like to take the kid home and get a couple steaks in her.
Tell me about it.
She's underfed, but she's not starving. Removing her from the mother's care is an extreme reaction. I'm recommending mandatory counseling for mother and child and follow-up visits through DCF.
Look, I have an exhausting schedule. I need you to work with me, not against me.
We can't start taking children because their parents are strange. Where would it end?
Well, I can't let you embarrass this department with this sentimental stuff.
Sentimental? Allowing a child to remain in the custody of her mother is sentimental?
It is when it goes against common sense. Look, I have identified an excellent foster family. They're ready to take her.
Is your loyalty to the foster family or to the child? Who are you working for?
Look, if this whole thing is about you trying to get your position back as supervisor, I assure you it's taken.
Don't be ridiculous. I don't want your job. I've had it. It's overrated.
I want to take this case back.
I'm a state-certified social worker. You can't just dismiss my finding.
Don't tell me what I can do.
You are wrong to take that child from her mother. I won't allow it.
I'd like to see you try to stop it.
Well, stick around. You might learn something.
Grandmother is compensating. Making her kid a saint is her way of making up for the loss of her daughter. Okay, but what's the harm? I mean, the child isn't conscious. We don't know what he's feeling. And the grandmother inflicts wounds on him to make his sainthood more credible?
Come on, you can't prove that.
What, the stigmata is real? Come on, don't go nuts on me. No, here is the question. Is the abuse serious enough to grant an OTC? His grandmother took him on tour across country last year. Thomas got pneumonia and nearly died.
Well, 200 people claim to have been cured by him.
What? On the record.
Greta, are you telling me that these things don't happen? Even the doctors say prayer works. They don't know why, but it does.
Fine, but I'm supposed to divorce all that from the situation. I'm supposed to see him as a child and not a saint.
Yeah, fine. But as a person, don't you ever want to embrace the mystery?
Are you serious?
Oh, 3 in the morning? I'd love something to believe in. Especially when the chemo starts to kick in.
I'm so sorry.
Can I tell you a sick secret? In my darkest moments, I've thought about paying Thomas a visit. But I've chosen science over God. I am not always sure it was the right decision.
Hi, Mrs. Oakes. It would work out much better for me if you people would call first. I have an appointment with my trainer.
Is Ashley here?
No, she's at kindergarten.
Good. That gives us a chance to chat.
What's going on?
What's going on is that you are in danger of losing your daughter to DCF.
Why?
Because you refuse to feed her normally.
I'm sorry if my nutrition standards aren't the same as yours. That doesn't give you the right to take my daughter from me.
DCF can take a child anytime they feel that she's in danger.
These charges would never hold up in court.
Maybe not, but it would take at least 3 weeks for you to get a hearing, during which time your child would be in the care of strangers. Now, I am currently fighting your battle, and I'm on your side. But if you don't grow a brain between now and tomorrow...
Excuse me.
And get some help for your eating disorder...
I do not have an eating
disorder. And start feeding your child something besides lettuce and rice cakes, you are going to be the mother of a kid in foster care. If you can wrap your rock-hard, emaciated head around that concept, you might have a prayer.
You have crossed the line, lady.
Sue me.
The child's autoimmune system is under duress. His system lacks the benefit of normal exercise and regular growth patterns. Thomas's weakened body works overtime to fight the diseases and infections most people don't even notice. The prolonged exposure to the public is seriously undermining his health.
Thank you, Dr. Meyer.
Mr. Trask?
No questions for the doctor, Your Honor, but if it please the court, I'd like to call a rebuttal witness. I think we should hear from Anthony Ruggiero, the Archbishop of the Diocese.
All due respect to Father Ruggiero, we're not here to debate the authenticity of the boy's sainthood.
This is a freedom of religion issue from where we're sitting, Your Honor, and we think it would be unfair to exclude the Archbishop's testimony. Also, please refer to him as Archbishop or Your Excellency.
All right. The court is listening. Your Excellency, what is the Church's position on this?
Your Honor, we are not directly involved in Thomas' situation, but we are concerned with any reported miracles. The official position of the Church is that people should pray for Thomas and not to him.
But do you consider him a saint?
Despite Thomas' popular nickname, there are no living saints. One can achieve sainthood only after death.
Oh, so saints are like angels?
No. Angels are completely different. Angels, Catholics believe, have never taken human form.
I see. Well, look who wasn't paying attention during religion class. I am sorry.
This is a common mistake. The speculation is that Thomas is what we call a victim soul, one that was born to take on the pain and suffering of others.
Do you believe such people exist?
I believe they have existed. I think what we have to keep in mind is that Thomas inspires divine faith. And that in itself is healing. People are often cured by belief.
Can I say something?
Your Honor.
She's a party, Mr. Cutler. She has a right to be heard. Go ahead.
10 years ago, my daughter was taken from me. Her son, my grandson, was born dead. But then he was given back to me. At first, I didn't understand the purpose of it. Just lying there like that. He had no purpose. I couldn't understand what God was doing. But then the people started to come, and he healed them. I saw it happen. And that's when I knew that there was a plan, and that there is a purpose to every life. This is Thomas's purpose. Please don't take it away.
Code of Judicial Ethics precludes me from talking about this case. Yeah. A temporary custody hearing is scheduled. That's all I can say.
Looks like a charm, so does not answering.
Well, I can't just let it ring.
Learn.
Mommy, there's so many people.
Don't encourage them.
There must be 100 reporters out there. Did you see?
Yeah, I managed to notice them.
I counted 5 satellite news vans. I wonder where they get their electricity.
They've been following me around like a pack of dingoes.
Dingoes?
Thomas Bell means a lot to a lot of people. Nothing like this has ever happened around here. Yeah, usually you need a passport and some malaria shots to have this kind of adventure.
Are you taking the saint boy away from his grandma?
Sweetie, I can't discuss it.
Don't do that. She'll go to hell.
What?
Everybody says so.
Okay, let's eat.
Where's Vincent?
You said something about starting a freelance writing job.
It's the lady from the hardware store. He met her looking for screws.
So, is there anything to this Thomas Bell business?
Anything to it?
Yeah, people getting healed, visions of the Virgin.
I hear you can also buy locate. This is not dinner table talk.
Is a 10-year-old comatose boy the messenger of God? Have we collectively lost our minds here? Let's talk about Area 51 next.
Well, that's a real place.
Okay. Fortunately, it is not my job to determine the degree of holiness, just the degree of abuse.
Amy, I think you were discussing it.
I don't want you to go to hell, Mommy.
Oh, sweetie, I'm not. I'm not. Damn it!
Let it go.
Aren't you tired?
No, tired is 1 a.m. Deadline for the short story competition is tomorrow. And you got a good opening paragraph.
You've been there?
I live there.
Did you ever win one of those competitions?
A long time ago, in college.
What was it called?
You wouldn't have heard of it.
Try me.
Pushcart.
You won the pushcart prize when you were in college. And then what?
Agent. First the publishing deal.
And then?
Inexplicable meltdown. I can't describe it. It's, I don't really like to think about it. Like 1 minute there I was, and the next, somebody who looked like me. You don't want to hear this. I swear to God, it's like I lost myself. Like I misplaced myself. I left it in a bar or somebody's back seat.
So what'd you do?
Went to Europe for a year. Dropped out of my life. Picked grapes in the south of France. Got paid in bottles of Vin Ordinaire. It's French for crappy wine.
I wish I'd had an adventure like that.
No, you don't.
And in the courtroom behind me, Judge Amy Gray is expected this morning to hand down her ruling on the fate of a little 10-year-old boy who has come to be known as Saint Thomas Bell.
I tried calling you at home.
Yeah, I left early.
You know the Attorney General, Mr. Pascal?
Yes, of course. We met at my swearing-in. Amy Gray.
Victor Pascal. Heard a lot about you. Well, to get right to it, we're pulling out of the Thomas Bell case.
Pulling out? How?
Just what I said. We decided not to pursue the petition.
Why?
The case is too ambiguous. The chaos the last few days indicates that people have spoken.
But I've already taken evidence. I was about to rule.
Don't even hint at how you were going to rule, Judge Gray. That I never want to know. Because if I do, well, it could appear that I influenced you.
Could the chaos you're referring to be the negative press that your office is receiving?
Careful, Judge Gray.
What makes you think I won't have my CSO file another abuse petition?
He could do that. My guess is that DCF would just screen it out. That's really all for now, Judge Gray.
Mr. Pascal, this was a bad move all around. You cannot interfere with people's lives if you don't have the courage of your convictions.
Are you under the impression that yours is a lifetime appointment?
No. But yours isn't either. And I could cite you for that.
Maxine, you and I go back a long way. I've always held your good judgment and dedication in the highest esteem.
Judge, I based my recommendations on 28 years' experience in DCF, and about 300 more raising my own children.
There is such a thing as protocol.
I was having trouble getting through to the woman.
The Department of Children and Families is under a lot of heat these days. No inappropriate physical contact.
I didn't touch her.
And no unnecessarily harsh language.
There's a fine line.
Rock-hard, emaciated head?
I'll apologize to Mrs. Oakes.
I think it's better you just stay away from her.
Yes, sir.
And we can forget about getting the child out of the house. Mrs. Oakes, not surprisingly, is suing the department. They're forced to lay low and hope she's the forgiving type.
Yes, sir.
That's all. Maxine. As if you aren't 3 steps ahead of me. You knew this was going to happen. You deliberately got that woman stirred up.
She wasn't scared enough.
I'd say you scared her. She asked for a restraining order. Do you realize you put your job in jeopardy?
Well, it's not my job if I'm not allowed to do it. We all act like foster care is the answer to our prayers. But kids get lost in that system years, and I think we need a hell of a reason to take them away from their parents.
Maxine.
I mean, by today's standards, I wouldn't be allowed to raise my basset hound.
Susie Nixon is radical, I know. But I am not. Have a little faith in the system, won't you? Or have you done it too long for that?
I hope not.
I hope not, too.
How do you like it? Chris?
Hi.
Hey. That's,
Come on around.
your mom.
Never mind. Could you just tell her that I took the laptop and I'll bring it back on Monday?
And you are...
Oh, I'm her daughter, Lori.
I see. I'm Vincent.
Hi, Vincent. Coffee smells good.
Hey. Hey. I was just writing you a note. I gotta get going.
Oh, I thought we'd work some more.
I can't. Today's bad. I met your daughter.
Lori? When?
She came and took the computer. Said she'd bring it back on Monday.
Little sneak. She knew I needed it for the weekend. So that's what happened.
But nothing happened. I just...
Realized how old I really am.
Of course not. I know, I'm being neurotic. Shallow, even.
Go on.
It's just, this whole thing started out kind of Sunset Boulevard, and suddenly it's The Graduate.
You want to go out with my daughter?
No. I want to go out with you. I think. But even though it doesn't look that way, my life is very complicated. I just don't know that this is the right time. I'm not sure I can do this.
Do what? Your life might be complicated, but this isn't.
Do you have to be so reasonable?
You're the one who's rationalizing.
I might have some time this weekend.
Okay.
Capping a long-running and controversial story, Thomas Bell, the so-called Hartford saint, will remain in his grandmother's care. Superior Court Judge Amy Gray will allow the Hartford grandmother to maintain custody of comatose 10-year-old Thomas, who many believe to possess miraculous powers. Although the Department of Children and Families had previously charged the grandmother with behavior that endangered young Thomas's health, Judge Gray today ruled that the state would not intervene in the boy's care. And now let's hear from Paul about tomorrow's weather.
I thought I heard you. Congratulations on your ruling.
It wasn't my ruling. One of those unintentional leaks.
What happened?
AG's office withdrew the petition. They set me up, Ma. They wanted to do something, but they were afraid I might rule the wrong way. They played both sides, and I got caught in the middle. That way I take the heat, and they don't.
Amy. It's politics. Was corporate law any different?
I expected this to be different. I was counting on it.
All I can tell you is, you stick around long enough, you start to play their game even better than they do. Prodigal carpenter.
I'm gonna finish tonight.
You sleep in your own place last night?
Did you?
You get right down to the basement. Don't come back without details.
I gotta do something personal.